Welcome back to Science for Sleep, where we gently explore the grand mysteries of science at a wonderfully calm and relaxing pace. Today, we're embarking on a special journey, an adventure back in time to the very beginning of the most miraculous thing within each of us, the dawn of thought. Let's listen to the story of how life began to think, from its simplest structures to the first rudimentary neural networks that laid the foundation for intelligence. Close your eyes and imagine an ancient world where primal oceans quietly awaited an extraordinary transformation. Billions of years ago, when life was merely simple cells drifting in the water, a silent revolution took place. It was the emergence of the neuron, the fundamental unit underlying all our thoughts, emotions, and memories. So why and when did these specialized cells appear? They weren't a random product. In a challenging and opportunistic environment, organisms needed a more efficient way to react to their surroundings. A simple cell could sense light or chemicals, but to coordinate a more complex response, like moving to find food or escaping predators, they required a fast and precise communication system. The neuron was evolution's answer. Imagine an elongated cell with arms reaching out. One arm, called a dendrite, specializes in receiving signals from other cells. A longer arm, called an axon, specializes in sending signals away. And it's at the tiny point of communication between them, called a synapse, where the magic of information is transmitted. This isn't just a physical structure. It's a sophisticated biological machine, capable of generating and transmitting electrochemical signals. When a neuron receives enough excitatory signals, it creates a small electrical impulse known as an action potential. This impulse travels along the axon like a gentle wave propagating. Upon reaching the end of the axon, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters, tiny chemical messengers, which cross the synaptic cleft to send a message to the next neuron. This entire process occurs in mere milliseconds, forming the basis of all neural activity, from your blinking to your deepest thoughts. Once the first neurons appeared, they didn't operate in isolation. Their true power lay in their ability to connect and form networks. Think of a quiet forest where each tree is a neuron. When these trees begin to talk to each other, exchanging information, a vibrant living forest emerges. That is the birth of the proto-neural network. Animals that clearly demonstrate a rudimentary neural network include creatures like hydra and sea jellies. Instead of a central brain, they possess a diffuse nerve net, neurons distributed throughout their bodies. This network allows them to react to stimuli from any direction. For example, if you touch a jellyfish, its entire body might contract. Because the signal propagates throughout the network without needing a specific control center. Despite its simplicity, this nerve net was a monumental evolutionary step. It allowed these organisms to perform more complex behaviors, such as swimming, capturing prey, and avoiding predators. Crucially, it established the fundamental principle: connection. It's not a single neuron, but the billions of connections between them that truly create intelligence. From the diffuse network, evolution led to another breakthrough: centralization. Imagine that in our forest of trees, a few trees began to grow taller, becoming central hubs for coordinating information. This was the beginning of neural centralization. A prime example is found in flatworms. Instead of a dispersed network, they possess clusters of neurons concentrated at their head, known as ganglia. These ganglia act as a rudimentary brain, allowing them to process information from their environment more efficiently, control their direction of movement, and react to food or danger. These were the precursors to the central nervous system and spinal cord that we see in more complex animals later. This centralization brought a significant advantage: the ability to process information faster, coordinate more complex behaviors, and ultimately gain greater control over their environment. As life continued to evolve, from simple organisms to more complex creatures with symmetrical bodies. The need for a central control system became paramount. Just as an orchestra needs a conductor, a complex body requires a brain to coordinate all its activities. That's when the central nervous system emerged. Imagine a fish swimming in the ocean. It needs to process visual information from its eyes, sense the water currents, and coordinate its fins in a synchronized manner. All of this demands a more powerful processing center. In early fish and amphibians, we begin to see the development of protobrains, consisting of specialized regions for different functions. Midbrain remains crucial in fish and amphibians, primarily involved in processing visual and auditory information, helping them locate prey or evade predators. Cerebellum appears early and plays a vital role in regulating movement, maintaining balance, and coordinating complex movements. For a fast-swimming creature or one that hops on land, the cerebellum is incredibly important. Forebrain, although still relatively simple in these species, it is the precursor to the cerebral cortex and structures involved in more complex learning and behavior. The emergence of the central nervous system, with an increasingly developed brain, opened up new possibilities for life. Animals could not only react instinctively, but also learn from experience, remember locations, and even display simple social behaviors. These were the initial foundations for all the cognitive and conscious activities we see in more complex creatures, culminating in humans. This process did not happen overnight. It was millions of years of natural selection, iteratively refining neural circuits, adding new brain regions, and optimizing how information was processed. From the first electrochemical sparks between single neurons to the complex networks, coordinating the behavior of fish, the journey of thought had truly begun. As we listen to this story of origin, let your mind gently ponder the marvel of your own being. Every thought, every sensation you experience stems from these tiny seeds, sown billions of years ago in the ocean of evolution. Let these currents of science gently carry you into a deep sleep where the mysteries of the brain will continue to unfold in your own dreams. From rudimentary neural networks and simple protobrains, the evolutionary journey continued, leading us to more complex brains, capable of sophisticated information processing, and opening the door to basic cognition. Let's gently glide through these marvelous stages of development, exploring how biology constructed increasingly intricate thinking machines. As vertebrate animals emerged, they brought with them a new brain blueprint, far more complex and organized than their invertebrate ancestors. This was not just an increase in size, but a specialization of brain regions, each taking on a specific function. Imagine a brain no longer a simple cluster of ganglia, but a house with many different rooms, each with its own job. In reptiles and amphibians, we see this division clearly. Their brains, though still relatively small compared to birds or mammals, developed more specialized lobes and structures to process sensory information and control behavior. Midbrain and hindbrain. These regions remained crucial in fish and amphibians, primarily involved in processing visual and auditory information and controlling movement. In reptiles, these areas are more refined, allowing them swift reactions to prey and threats in complex terrestrial environments. Forebrain, although not yet developed into the large cerebral cortex seen in mammals, the reptilian forebrain contains structures linked to instinctual behaviors, such as hunting and mating. This diversification in brain architecture allowed these creatures to adapt to a wider range of habitats, from aquatic to terrestrial, and to develop more sophisticated survival strategies. It was a pivotal turning point in the evolutionary journey of intelligence, laying the groundwork for the more wondrous brains to come. When we think of intelligence, our thoughts often turn to mammals or primates. Yet the avian world offers a surprisingly brilliant story of brain evolution. Despite their compact brain size, birds possess a unique architecture that allows for astonishing cognitive abilities. Imagine a crow, a species renowned for its intelligence. They can use tools, solve complex problems, and even plan for the future. How can such a small brain accomplish this? The secret lies in neuron density. Avian brains, particularly in certain regions like the pallium, have a much higher neuron density than mammalian brains of comparable size. This means that, despite being small, their brains are incredibly dense, packing more processing units into a limited space. Furthermore, birds exhibit complex learning and memory capabilities. Vocal learning. Some parrot species can mimic human speech, not merely by repetition, but by understanding and using words in appropriate contexts. Problem solving. Parrots and corvids can devise creative solutions to obtain food or escape traps. Spatial memory. Nutcrackers and jays can remember thousands of cache locations for their seeds, demonstrating superior spatial navigation. And memory. Evolution took a different path for birds, not sheer size, but efficiency and neuronal packing. This demonstrates that intelligence can evolve in diverse ways, unconfined by a single template, adding a unique beauty to the evolutionary journey. With the advent of mammals, we observe another significant leap in brain architecture, the remarkable expansion of the cortex. This is the outermost layer of the brain, characterized by its intricate folds, and it serves as the central hub for higher cognitive functions, such as thought, language, memory, and consciousness. Imagine the cortex as a vast board where all information from the external world is processed and integrated. In mammals, especially primates, the cortex became larger and more folded, increasing its surface area without significantly increasing the overall volume of the skull. These folds are not random. They are evidence of an evolutionary drive to maximize information processing capacity. The development of the cortex enabled mammals to acquire new abilities, sophisticated sensory processing, the capacity to discern more subtle nuances in sounds, images, and smells. Flexible learning. Learning, not just through instinct, but also through experience and social interaction. Adaptive behavior. The ability to adjust behavior to specific situations and solve complex problems. For example, in mammals like rats, cats, and dogs, we see the development of sensory and motor cortical regions, allowing them to navigate their environment, hunt, and engage in social interactions effectively. Even playful behaviors and social learning demonstrate the complexity afforded by the cortex. This cortical explosion laid the foundation for the emergence of primate intelligence and, ultimately, human intelligence. Beyond being an organ for individual thought, the brain also evolved to support complex social relationships. In many mammalian species, particularly those that live in groups, social intelligence became a critical factor for survival and development. Imagine a wolf pack, an elephant herd, or a group of primates. Their survival hinges on their ability to communicate, cooperate, recognize other individuals, and maintain social structures. This imperative drove the development of brain regions associated with social interaction. Mirror neuron system. In primates and some bird species, mirror neurons are thought to play a role in understanding the actions and intentions of others, laying the groundwork for empathy and observational learning. When a monkey watches another monkey perform an action, the same groups of neurons can be activated in its brain, as if it were performing the action itself. Oxytocin and vasopressin. These hormones, produced in the brain, are crucial in fostering social bonding, maternal attachment, and cooperative behaviors in many mammalian species. Theory of mind, rudimentary. While most complex in humans, studies suggest that some animal species, like chimpanzees and dogs, may possess a basic ability to understand the intentions or emotional states of other individuals. This allows them to predict the behavior of their conspecifics and adjust their own behavior accordingly. The evolution of social intelligence not only helped animals survive better, but also created complex organizational forms, from small families to large communities, where knowledge and skills could be passed down through generations. This paved the way for the development of primate species, and ultimately, humans with our incredibly intricate social structures. As we examine the sophisticated brains of higher animals, from familiar dogs and cats to dolphins, elephants, and chimpanzees, we begin to see signs of basic cognition, the ability not just to react instinctively, but to demonstrate learning, memory, problem solving, and even complex emotions. Learning and problem solving. Animals like the African gray parrot, Alex the parrot, have demonstrated abilities to learn basic language and solve simple logical puzzles. Dolphins exhibit complex learning capabilities and diverse forms of communication. Long-term memory. Elephants are renowned for their prodigious memory of water sources, migration routes, and herd members, which is critical for their survival. Emotions. In animals, research indicates that many animal species are capable of experiencing emotions such as fear, joy, sadness, and even empathy. For example, sharing behaviors in chimpanzees, grief in elephants. This is supported by similar brain structures to those found in humans. Animal culture. Some species, for example, killer whales, chimpanzees, exhibit behaviors passed down through generations via learning, not genetics, creating what can be considered animal culture. For instance, the unique hunting techniques of specific killer whale pods. These capabilities, though varying in degree compared to humans, are testaments to the brain's flexibility and potential throughout biological evolution. We are slowly revealing a broader picture of intelligence in the natural world, where constant innovation and adaptation shape new forms of life. The evolutionary journey of the brain is still ongoing. Every new discovery about how neurons connect, brain regions interact, and neurochemicals regulate behavior brings us closer to understanding the nature of intelligence and consciousness. As you drift into sleep, let these stories of the rise of thought gently permeate your mind, and who knows, the next mysteries of life may be revealed in your own dreams. From the simple neural structures of hydras to the increasingly complex brains of mammals, the evolutionary journey of intelligence has led us to a pinnacle, the human brain. This is not just a larger organ, but a marvel of biological architecture, with specialized regions and intricate connections that shape our unique cognitive abilities. Let's gently explore what makes this brain so extraordinary. When we look at the human brain, the first things we notice are its characteristic size and shape. Weighing approximately 1.4 kilograms on average and containing about 86 billion neurons, our brain is not the largest in the animal kingdom. Whale brains are much larger, but it stands out due to its astonishing complexity and efficiency. This complexity lies not just in the number of neurons, but in how they are organized and interconnected. Imagine the outermost layer of the brain, called the cerebral cortex, not as a smooth surface. Instead, it is covered by countless folds, deep grooves, and ridges called gyri and sulci. These folds are not random. They are a masterpiece of evolution. By folding its surface, the brain can pack a much larger cortical area into the limited space of the skull. If the entire cerebral cortex were to be flattened out, it would cover an area roughly the size of a small tablecloth, a massive space for information processing. This expansion and folding of the cerebral cortex is a key factor in our higher human intelligence. This is where the most complex cognitive functions take place, including abstract thought, planning, language, memory, and consciousness. It is the cerebral cortex that has enabled us not only to survive, but also to create, to dream, and to contemplate the universe. This development is the result of millions of years of evolution, where tiny mutations yielded immense adaptive advantages, fostering the formation of an unparalleled learning and adaptive machine. Within the vast expanse of the cerebral cortex, there is a special region that acts as the architect of our very selves, the executive center for all complex behaviors and conscious thought. This is the prefrontal cortex, located just behind your forehead. This region is one of the latest and most complex areas of the brain to develop, reaching its peak in humans. Imagine the prefrontal cortex as the CEO of the brain, the one who makes critical decisions, strategizes, and controls. Impulses. It enables us to plan and make decisions, from simple choices like what to eat for dinner to complex ones like building a career or solving a scientific problem. Control impulses and behavior helps us curb immediate desires to achieve long-term goals, for example, not eating the entire cake at once or refraining from saying angry words. Engage in abstract thinking and problem solving, the ability to reason, analyze complex situations, and find solutions to unprecedented challenges. Exhibit cognitive flexibility, the ability to switch between tasks, adapt to new information, and adjust strategies when needed. Develop self-awareness and consciousness of self. The prefrontal cortex also plays a crucial role in constructing the sense of I, of one's own existence and place in the world. The superior development of the prefrontal cortex in humans is a key factor that has allowed us to build civilizations, develop complex languages, and create art and science. It enables us not just to react to the environment, but to actively shape it, to look towards the future, and to learn from the past. Our brain is divided into two distinct halves, the left cerebral hemisphere and the right cerebral hemisphere. At first glance, they appear symmetrical, yet each hemisphere tends to specialize in different functions, creating an astonishing harmonious coordination. The left hemisphere is often considered the center for language, logic, and analysis. This is where we process details, understand grammar, solve mathematical problems, and think sequentially. For many, this is where speaking and writing skills are controlled. The right hemisphere is strong in spatial reasoning, creativity, facial recognition, and emotional processing. It helps us navigate in space, appreciate music, paint, and read emotions from others' faces. This is where holistic patterns and intuitive thinking often reside. However, it's important to remember that this division is not absolute. The two hemispheres always work together, constantly exchanging information through a large bridge of nerve fibers called the corpus callosum. Imagine the corpus callosum as a grand bridge, allowing the two distinct worlds of the brain to continuously communicate, integrating information to create a complete picture of reality. This specialization allows the brain to process vast amounts of information efficiently, assigning tasks to different departments to optimize performance. At the same time, the seamless coordination between the two hemispheres ensures that we can both analyze details and see the big picture, use logic, and engage in creative flight, a delicate balance that shapes human intelligence. Nestled deep within the brain, beneath the complex layers of the cerebral cortex, lies a collection of older structures, collectively known as the limbic system. This is the heart of our emotions, motivation, and fundamental memories, elements that shape our daily lived experience and how we react to the world. The limbic system comprises several crucial regions. The amygdala, often likened to the brain's alarm center. It plays a pivotal role in processing and encoding emotions, especially fear, anger, and pleasure. When you sense danger or experience a strong emotional moment, the amygdala becomes highly active. This is the brain region that helps you recognize a familiar face or feel a chill upon hearing a strange sound in the night. The hippocampus serves as the brain's librarian, playing a vital role in forming and organizing new memories of events and facts, declarative memories. It helps us remember a new route, a conversation, or what we did yesterday. Without the hippocampus, forming new memories is nearly impossible. The hypothalamus, a small yet incredibly important control center, regulating basic bodily functions, such as temperature, hunger, thirst, and sleep. It also links the nervous system to the endocrine system via the pituitary gland, influencing emotions and behavior. The intricate interplay between these structures within the limbic system forms the biological basis for the rich emotional experience of humans. From profound joy to deep-seated fear, from attachment to sadness, all are woven from the biochemical and electrical activities of this system. It also explains why our memories are often tinged with strong emotions, because the regions that process them are located in close proximity within the brain, creating indelible imprints. The journey of brain development does not cease at birth. In fact, it is a continuous and dynamic process, extending from infancy through adulthood and even into old age. Each stage brings marvelous changes in brain architecture and function. Synaptic explosion in children. In the early years of life, a child's brain produces billions of new neural connections, synapses, at an astonishing rate. This explains why children have such a remarkable capacity for rapidly learning new languages and skills. Imagine a child's brain as a freshly grown forest, where every second, millions of new paths are being blazed. Pruning process following. This period of rapid growth, the brain embarks on an efficient pruning process, eliminating less used connections to optimize the network, making the brain more efficient. This is akin to a gardener trimming weaker branches to allow a plant to flourish. Prefrontal cortex development in adolescence. The prefrontal cortex continues to develop and mature until around the mid-20s. This explains why adolescents sometimes tend to act more impulsively, as their control and decision-making center is still undergoing maturation. Neuroplasticity in adults. Contrary to older beliefs, the adult human brain is not fixed, but retains the ability to change its structure and function to learn, adapt, and recover. We can learn a new language, a new skill, or even recover from brain injury, all thanks to this plasticity. Every time you learn something new, every time you overcome a challenge, your brain is quietly reorganizing itself. Endless potential. Even in old age, the brain can maintain important functions and learn new things by keeping the mind active, engaging in social activities, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. The human brain is truly a marvel of biological evolution, a dynamic system constantly changing and adapting. As you close your eyes and drift into sleep, let these stories of the brain's architecture and infinite potential gently guide you into a deep dream, where the mysteries of your own self may be revealed. As we journey deeper into the human brain, we encounter the intricate biological processes that weave the fabric of our inner lives, memory, and emotion. These aren't just fleeting sensations or scattered facts. They are meticulously constructed and maintained by a complex interplay of neurons, synapses, and biochemical messengers. Let's gently uncover the biological artistry behind how we remember, feel, and make sense of our experiences. Memory, in its essence, is the brain's incredible ability to encode, store, and retrieve information. It's what allows us to learn from the past, navigate the present, and plan for the future. But how does this abstract concept manifest biologically? At its most fundamental level, memory is about changes in the connections between neurons, known as synapses. Imagine each neuron is a tiny switch, and each synapse is the point where two switches connect. When neurons communicate repeatedly, these synaptic connections can become stronger or weaker, much like a well-worn path becoming easier to traverse. This phenomenon is called synaptic plasticity. Two key mechanisms drive this. Long-term potentiation, LTP. This is the persistent strengthening of synaptic connections, making it easier for neurons to talk to each other. Think of it as solidifying a memory. When you repeatedly practice a skill or revisit a piece of information, your brain strengthens the corresponding neural pathways through LTP. Long-term depression, LTD. Conversely, LTD is the weakening of synaptic connections, which can be crucial for forgetting irrelevant information or updating memories. It's how your brain declutters. Our memories aren't stored in one single place. Rather, they are distributed across various brain regions, each contributing to different types of memory. Hippocampus, often referred to as the librarian of the brain. The hippocampus is crucial for forming new declarative memories. Memories of facts and events, what you ate for breakfast, the name of a new acquaintance. It acts as a temporary storage hub, helping to consolidate these fresh experiences before they are potentially moved to more permanent storage in the cortex. Prefrontal cortex. This region is involved in working memory, holding information temporarily for manipulation, like remembering a phone number just long enough to dial it, and also in retrieving and organizing long-term memories. Amygdala. This almond-shaped structure plays a vital role in attaching emotional significance to memories. This is why emotionally charged events, whether joyous or traumatic, often leave more vivid and lasting imprints. Beyond these explicit memories, our brains also form non-declarative memories, which include skills and habits, like riding a bike or tying your shoelaces. These types of memories are often handled by areas like the basal ganglia and cerebellum, operating outside conscious awareness. The complexity of memory highlights the brain's remarkable capacity to constantly record, refine, and recall the intricate tapestry of our lives. Emotions are not merely subjective feelings. They are deeply rooted biological phenomena, a complex interplay of brain regions, neurotransmitters, and physiological responses that color our perception of the world and drive our behaviors. They are the brain's internal compass, guiding us through complex social landscapes and critical survival situations. The limbic system, as we discussed earlier, is a key player in the generation and processing of emotions. Within this system, the amygdala is undeniably central to emotion, particularly fear and anger. It acts as an early warning system, rapidly evaluating potential threats in our environment and triggering immediate physiological responses like increased heart rate or a surge of adrenaline. But it's not just about negative emotions. The amygdala also plays a role in processing positive emotions and rewards. The hypothalamus, a small but powerful region. The hypothalamus regulates fundamental physiological responses to emotion, such as changes in heart rate, blood pressure, and hormone release. It acts as a bridge between emotional states and physical manifestations. The insula. This deep cortical region is involved in feeling emotions, processing bodily sensations that arise from emotional states, like a gut feeling of anxiety or the warmth of happiness. It integrates internal bodily states with conscious emotional experience. Neurotransmitters, the brain's chemical messengers, act as the orchestra of our emotional symphony. Dopamine, often associated with pleasure and reward, it fuels our motivation and pursuit of goals. A surge of dopamine can create feelings of excitement and anticipation. Serotonin plays a crucial role in regulating mood, sleep, and appetite. Imbalances in serotonin are linked to conditions like depression and anxiety. Norepinephrine, involved in arousal, alertness, and the fight or flight response, preparing the body for action in stressful situations. The interplay of these brain regions and chemicals creates the vast spectrum of human emotions. Understanding this biological basis helps us appreciate that emotions are not weaknesses, but sophisticated biological tools designed to help us navigate and thrive in a complex world. They are the vibrant hues that paint our every experience, making life meaningful and dynamic. Memory and emotion are not separate entities residing in distinct corners of the brain. Rather, they are deeply intertwined, influencing and shaping each other in a continuous, silent dance. This intimate connection explains why our most vivid memories are often those associated with strong emotional experiences, and why certain emotions can trigger a flood of related recollections. Think about a moment of intense joy or a sudden fright. These experiences tend to be etched deeply into our minds, often recalled with striking clarity even years later. This is due in part to the amygdala's role in memory consolidation. When an event carries a strong emotional charge, the amygdala signals the hippocampus to prioritize and strengthen the encoding of that memory. It's like the amygdala is highlighting a passage in a book, telling the hippocampus, "This is important. Make sure we remember this." Conversely, memories can also evoke powerful emotions. Recalling a fond childhood moment can bring a wave of warmth and nostalgia, while remembering a past trauma can trigger anxiety or sadness. This happens because the neural pathways for memory and emotion are interconnected. When a memory is activated, it can reactivate the emotional circuits that were engaged during the original experience. This dynamic interplay is incredibly adaptive. From an evolutionary perspective, remembering emotionally significant events, especially those associated with danger or reward, is vital for survival. Learning to avoid threats like a dangerous predator or to seek out valuable resources like a reliable food source is enhanced when those memories are imbued with strong emotional tags. However, this connection can also be a double-edged sword. In conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, the brain's emotional memory system can become hyperactive or stuck. Traumatic memories, often encoded with intense fear, are repeatedly replayed in vivid, distressing nightmares, preventing the natural emotional desensitization process that normally occurs during a REM sleep. This highlights the brain's attempt to process difficult experiences, even if the mechanism sometimes falters, reinforcing the profound link between what we feel and what we remember. The human brain is not a static organ. It is an incredibly dynamic and adaptable masterpiece, constantly reshaping itself in response to our experiences. This remarkable ability is known as neuroplasticity, and it is the biological foundation for all learning, memory, and even recovery from injury. Imagine your brain as a bustling city where the roads and buildings are constantly being reconfigured. Every new piece of information you learn, every new skill you acquire, every new interaction you have leaves a subtle, yet measurable, imprint on your brain's physical structure and function. This happens at multiple levels. Synaptic changes. As discussed, synapses, the connections between neurons, can strengthen or weaken. When you learn something new, new synaptic connections can form, or existing ones can become more efficient. This is the most fundamental level of plasticity. Neuronal growth. In some areas of the brain, new neurons can actually be generated throughout life, a process called neurogenesis. While limited, it contributes to the brain's ability to adapt. Cortical reorganization. Larger areas of the brain can reorganize themselves. For example, if one part of the body loses a sensory input, like an amputation, the cortical area previously dedicated to that part might be reassigned to process input from another part of the body. Neuroplasticity is evident throughout life. Childhood development. The brains of infants and children are incredibly plastic, rapidly forming billions of new connections, which enables swift language acquisition and skill development. This is followed by a period of pruning, where less used connections are eliminated, refining the neural network for efficiency. Adult learning. Whether you learn a new language, pick up a musical instrument, or master a complex craft, your adult brain is actively forming new connections and strengthening relevant pathways. Studies have shown that even simple activities like juggling can lead to measurable changes in brain structure. Recovery from injury. Neuroplasticity is key to recovery after brain injuries like stroke. Healthy parts of the brain can take over the functions of damaged areas, and therapy can help rewire the brain to regain lost abilities. This constant reshaping means that your brain is literally being molded by your experiences. It's a testament to the brain's profound capacity for adaptation, allowing us to learn, grow, and navigate an ever-changing world. Each quiet moment of learning, each new insight, is a testament to this incredible living architecture within you. At the very frontier of biological understanding lies one of the most profound and elusive mysteries: consciousness. How does the collective activity of billions of neurons give rise to subjective experience? The feeling of being me, of seeing colors, hearing sounds, or having thoughts. While still an active area of intense research and debate, biology offers tantalizing insights into the brain's role in this ultimate phenomenon. While there is no single, universally accepted biological theory of consciousness, many prominent hypotheses focus on the complex interplay of neural networks and information processing. Integrated information theory, IT. One prominent biological theory suggests that consciousness arises from systems that are both highly integrated, all parts connected and influencing each other, and highly differentiated, each part contributing unique information. The more complex and interconnected a system's information processing, the higher its V-val, representing its level of consciousness. Global workspace theory. This theory proposes that consciousness emerges when information from various specialized brain areas, sensory, memory, emotional, becomes widely available to other parts of the brain, creating a global workspace where this information is broadcast and can be accessed and acted upon. Neural correlates of consciousness, NCC. Researchers actively seek the NCCs, a minimal set of neural events and mechanisms sufficient for a specific conscious experience. By comparing brain activity during conscious perception versus unconscious processing, scientists aim to pinpoint the biological signatures of awareness. Key biological components are believed to be essential. Thalamocortical loops. Continuous communication between the thalamus, a sensory relay station, and the cerebral cortex is thought to be fundamental for maintaining conscious awareness. Specific brain rhythms. Certain patterns of brain waves, particularly gamma waves, high-frequency oscillations, are correlated with conscious states and binding different sensory inputs into a coherent perception. The biological search for consciousness also delves into the unique aspects of the human brain. Self-recognition. The ability to recognize oneself in a mirror, linked to specific brain regions involved in self-processing, is a key marker of advanced consciousness. Theory of mind. Advanced. The human capacity to attribute mental states, beliefs, desires, intentions to others, crucial for complex social interactions and empathy, is rooted in specialized neural networks. While the exact how of consciousness remains a profound mystery, biological research continues to uncover the intricate neural architectures and dynamic processes that support our rich inner world. It's a humbling reminder that the very essence of who we are, our thoughts, feelings, and awareness, is intimately woven into the biological fabric of our brain. As you rest, let the quiet complexity of your own mind drift through your thoughts, a silent testament to the biological marvel that is human consciousness. At the very frontier of biological understanding lies one of the most profound and elusive mysteries: consciousness. How does the collective activity of billions of neurons give rise to subjective experience? The feeling of being me, of seeing colors, hearing sounds, or having thoughts. While still an active area of intense research and debate, biology offers tantalizing insights into the brain's role in this ultimate phenomenon. While there is no single, universally accepted biological theory of consciousness, many prominent hypotheses focus on the complex interplay of neural networks and information processing. Integrated Information Theory, IT. One prominent biological theory suggests that consciousness arises from systems that are both highly integrated, all parts connected and influencing each other, and highly differentiated, each part contributing unique information. The more complex and interconnected a system's information processing, the higher its phi value, representing its level of consciousness. Global Workspace Theory. This theory proposes that consciousness emerges when information from various specialized brain areas, sensory, memory, emotional, becomes widely available to other parts of the brain, creating a global workspace where this information is broadcast and can be accessed and acted upon. Neural Correlates of Consciousness, NCC. Researchers actively seek the NCCs, the minimal set of neural events and mechanisms sufficient for a specific conscious experience. By comparing brain activity during conscious perception versus unconscious processing, scientists aim to pinpoint the biological signatures of awareness. Key biological components are believed to be essential. Thalamocortical loops. Continuous communication between the thalamus, a sensory relay station, and the cerebral cortex is thought to be fundamental for maintaining conscious awareness. Specific brain rhythms. Certain patterns of brain waves, particularly gamma waves, high-frequency oscillations, are correlated with conscious states and binding different sensory inputs into a coherent perception. The biological search for consciousness also delves into the unique aspects of the human brain. Self-recognition, the ability to recognize oneself in a mirror, linked to specific brain regions involved in self-processing, is a key marker of advanced consciousness. Theory of mind, advanced, the human capacity to attribute mental states, beliefs, desires, intentions to others, crucial for complex social interactions and empathy, is rooted in specialized neural networks. While the exact how of consciousness remains a profound mystery, biological research continues to uncover the intricate neural architectures and dynamic processes that support our rich inner world. It's a humbling reminder that the very essence of who we are, our thoughts, feelings, and awareness, is intimately woven into the biological fabric of our brain. As you rest, let the quiet complexity of your own mind drift through your thoughts, a silent testament to the biological marvel that is human consciousness.